Hi everyone, my name is Si Jiang. I'm a first-year PhD student in the School of Information at UC Berkeley. I'm going to present my paper, Random, Messy, Funny, Raw, Finstas as Intimate Reconfigurations of Social Media. I would like to thank my collaborators Denai, Zheng, Carrie, and Nilofar. Instagram is a popular social media platform that is based on video and image sharing. In recent years, young users have started using Instagram in a new way. Besides their main account, they create and maintain secondary accounts to share with their close friends. While they call their main account a Finsta for real Instagram, they call their secondary account Finsta for fake Instagram. According to these users, a Finsta is an often private Instagram account that is a place to share content that is emotional, low quality, indecorous, or otherwise unacceptable on other social media platforms. We find that in creating Finsta, users have taken the larger socio-technical platform Instagram and carved out smaller, more intimate spaces that share specific norms and expectations. In this research, we asked the question, how and why do users create and maintain Finstas? To explain this phenomenon, we built on Lucy Sussman's theory of reconfiguration of technology. Reconfiguration means arranging the parts in a different form or for a different use. Sussman argues that technologies are always reconfigured by people in everyday use to meet evolving needs. For instance, using an ironing board as a standing desk or using a cat as an iPad stand. In particular, Sussman draws our attention to the creative yet often taken for granted labor that is necessary to maintain complex socio-technical arrangements. Similarly, we found that Instagram users have reconfigured the platform's technical infrastructure to create something novel and distinct, which is Finsta. These reconfigurations happen in three main ways: from idealized self to unserious messiness, from obligate positivity to vulnerability, and from superficial interactions to deep and more intimate engagements. Following Sussman, we call this process intimate reconfiguration. I will talk about this in more detail, but first I want to quickly go over our methods in this study. We conducted a qualitative study that took two approaches. The first part is interviews with Finsta users. We recruited 10 participants through a combination of purposeful and snowball sampling. The participants' age ranges from 18 to 26, and 9 participants are female. The strength of the interviews was that we got to discuss with users directly, ask follow-up questions, and dig deeper. However, given the sensitivity of some Finsta content, participants could be biased by the existence of the researcher. Also, our IRB did not allow us to look directly at participants' Finsta posts to protect participants and their friends who might appear in photos but can't give consent. To solve these issues, we gathered and analyzed Exposing My Finsta videos on YouTube. Exposing My Finsta videos have become a popular category of videos in recent years, particularly among YouTube micro-celebrities. We collected the 10 most recent videos on YouTube and analyzed the content in every screenshot the celebrities showed of their Finstas. These two sources of data are complementary. In interviews, we could discuss with users directly and get more detailed information. In videos, we got more candid descriptions, including sensitive and stigmatized topics. Next, I will describe what we found. I will describe our findings in 3 sections: setting the stage, performing Finsta, and reflections on Finsta use. Just a quick note before I start. I will frequently compare users' Finstas with their Instas because that's almost always how our participants explained it. The most important step for setting the stage is to craft an audience. We find that users' Finstas are often public and anyone can follow them. In contrast, their Finstas are often private and they have strict gatekeeping practices around who can follow them. They only let in close friends, and some Finsta users even proactively block people because they don't want those people to see the content or even find out they have Finstas. Choosing followers is an ongoing process. Finsta users regularly review their followers and remove those they don't feel close to anymore. This is an example of what Sussman calls the ongoing labor to maintain socio-technical arrangements. Once people have set the stage, how do they perform Finsta? Here are some examples of the types of content we found people frequently share on Finsta. What creates the conditions for users to be able to share this content? We find 3 reconfigurations of the platform that help answer the question. The first reconfiguration is from presenting an idealized self to presenting an unserious, messy self. What does this mean? To give an example, participant 5 dances as a hobby. But her Insta is a place to put really good dance photos. Her Finsta is a place to put her videos of falling or making a bad face while dancing. We also find that when people present themselves on Insta, they are aware of their professional networks. On the other hand, Finsta becomes a place for them to put things that are not safe for work. In the screenshots we analyzed, we find that people share taboo or stigmatized content on their Finstas, such as content about drugs, alcohol, or risque photos. We also find that with their Finstas, they turn an obligate positive self-image into vulnerability. For the participants, Finsta is a place to display the best possible version of self, as if their lives are flawless. On the other hand, Finsta becomes a place for them to share the negative aspects of life, for example, bad grades or relationship problems. We also find that this reconfiguration extends to the emotions that people share. While Finsta is a place to express positive, happy emotions, Finstas becomes a place to vent negative emotions such as anger, depression, and anxiety. In the YouTube screenshots we analyzed, we found one specific kind of content appears a lot, crying selfies. Just as the picture shows, a Finsta user posts themselves crying. Through the first 2 reconfigurations, we can see that users have reconfigured their use of Instagram to present an alternative self-image. By doing so, they have enabled different modes of interactions. The superficial interactions on Insta turn towards deeper engagements. On Insta, people want validation from a wider audience. They care about the number of likes and validating comments. However, they admit that the comments they get sound superficial. For example, "You look so good." Many participants indicated that they don't care about the number of likes on Finsta, and they perceive the comments as more personal, relatable, and meaningful. In particular, Finsta becomes a place for users to share difficult emotions, solicit support from friends, and provide support in return. One participant described the experience as therapeutic. We can see that Finsta users have reconfigured the norm of what they view as superficial, fast-paced interactions to lengthier, deeper engagements. The reconfiguration not only happens for likes and comments, but also the way users craft their posts. Users' Finsta content centers images and videos, which is closer to what the original designers of Instagram intended. However, on Finstas, there is the prevalence of text-based content, and the picture can be unrelated or random. In the picture to the right, we can see that a Finsta user posted a selfie and wrote a long caption to reflect on her purpose in the world. Although we have said that on Finsta, users have presented both unserious messiness and vulnerability, we actually find the temporal pattern. At first, users only present unserious messiness, and later, after they become more familiar with the norms on Finsta, they show more vulnerability. This is maybe because after using Finsta for a while, they learn the norms and start to see it as a safe space. So, what do these reconfigurations provide users? First, Finsta is an outlet for an alternative self-presentation. It's a safe space to be silly and vulnerable, and they don't have to worry too much. Finsta is also a place to share and solicit emotional support from their peers. Participants benefit from putting difficult emotions into words and visual representation, and they use Finsta to passively reach out to friends, especially around sensitive issues that are hard to discuss in person. And through sharing content to a specific friend group they trust, Finsta users are able to have genuine and deep interaction with each other. So far, I showed that users have collectively reconfigured Instagram's platform to create a new space with largely different norms and values. This begs the question, who configures technology and how? Our research shows that Finsta users have designed Finsta collectively and in use. This stands in contrast to the dominant view of design, which sees design as the sub-province of professional technology designers who are predominantly men, and instead makes visible the work of Finsta users, who in our research were mostly young women. As I discussed, part of this work of reconfiguration is in creating new norms and practices. Sometimes these changes can make their way into the technical infrastructure itself. For example, in 2016, Instagram rolled out a highly requested feature to allow users to create and navigate between multiple accounts. Media speculation at the time suggested that this was a move by the company to cater to young users who were already heavy Finsta users. On Finsta, young people have the pressure to present an idealized, perfect self. Likes and comments become the currency which can measure their performance. Finstas, on the other hand, can be seen as counter-publics that offer a temporary suspension of the forces of dominant publics. Finstas as counter-publics offer a space for young people, especially young women in our sample, to discuss issues that have been overlooked or suppressed by the dominant public in an environment of mutual encouragement. It allows them to formulate alternative interpretations of their identities and interests. For example, Finsta users are able to share their imperfect, messy self and vent negative emotions. Reciprocally, through interactions with friends, they realize that others are going through similar difficulties in life, and they use Finstas to support each other. We have talked about how Finstas help users find an escape from the pressures of social media. However, we want to point out that Finstas are not unproblematic utopias. With the new norms, new expectations also arise. While Finsta users enjoy the chance to share content that is imperfect and down to earth, they also may subsequently feel pressure to present themselves this way for their Finsta followers. Some users also say they feel obligated to provide emotional support to their friends. Also, from the very existence of exposing my Finsta videos, we know that although Finsta is meant to be private and secret, micro-celebrities use their Finstas to gain attention. In this sense, authenticity becomes a new currency. Perhaps with these new expectations and norms, users will even start to need a Finsta for their Finsta. To summarize, we have introduced Finstas, which describes secondary, often private Instagram accounts to share emotional, low-quality, or indecorous content with close friends. On Finstas, we find three ways users reconfigure the Instagram platform. We call the process intimate reconfiguration. And with the new norms on Finstas, new expectations also arise. Thank you for listening.